This is Deandra Beatty, and you're listening to The Bowler Show.
Hi, this is Jackie Bowling, and you're listening to The Bowler Show.
This is Jeff Riggles of Storm Products and the 11thframe.com. You're listening to The Bowler Show.
Hi, this is EJ Tackett, and you're listening to The Bowler Show.
Welcome to The Bowler Show, featuring interviews with the biggest names in bowling today. Tonight, the Waz is in Las Vegas for the Open Championship, so he's live at the venue to give us updates and see what stars of the day might be on site to pull in for a few words. So without further ado, here are your hosts, David the Waz Waswo and myself, Luke Rosedal. Hey everybody, welcome to The Bowler Show tonight. We have Mr. Waswo on site over there, as I said in the intro. So I'm gonna be running the show here tonight, and he's gonna see who he can pull in. But for now, we want to thank everybody for joining us. We want to thank some of our sponsors: Storm Products, I Am Bowling, Cool Wick, Turbo, Bowler's Mart, SRGBBFS, and I don't know, what did I miss? I said a bunch of names there. So
did you get? I wasn't actually listening, which is occasionally I'll do from time to time. Bowlers. Well, you got Big J's, Double J's, Pro Shop, BobbyJacksons.com. Did you get them?
No, hadn't gotten to them. I was trying to rifle off all the names on my shirt here. So Bowler's Mart, that might have been the other one. But yeah, Double J's, Pro Shop, BobbyJacksons.com, and S&H Custom Homes. So what do you got for us tonight?
All right. Well, first off, I want to thank Aaron Smith. I know he's got a million things going on here, and as luck would have it, the guy who was coming in tonight had a problem and isn't going to be here tonight. So Aaron's going to be working the rest of the night while he's still helping us and coming on the show. So we're going to do what we can to get him in and get him out around 4:20, and we'll see what we got going on. What's happening live and whether he needs to leave or not. And then at 5 o'clock, we're going to bring in Wes Pye. He's working at the Storm booth right now. Mark Anderson is not there currently. He's going to be here later tonight, around 6 or 7. So local time, of course, so he won't be able to come on the show. But we'll get Wes in here. Wes was watching the Senior Masters and saw the clinic that Dino Castillo ended up putting on. So he's going to give us some insight into that, and then talk a little bit about Nationals. Luke, you're going to be handling that interview also, so he's good to go on talking about anything with Nationals, of course, any Storm equipment, surfaces, balls that are working out here. And of course, he can talk about other things also, and I'll leave that up to you what you guys do on that. But he'll, of course, also talk about the things going on here at the Storm booth in Las Vegas. And then we're kind of watching Blake Demore and Spencer Robarge on time. I'm guessing 5:30, 5:40-ish our time out here. So towards the end of the show, we'll get them in here. And when we do get guests on, I will just kind of sit off to the side here, maybe throw some notes over to the guest or maybe throw something in. But mainly, it's going to be you talking to them from there. We decided that's just going to be the best way to do it. So this show could go sideways in a hurry, or it could be one of our better shows. Actually, Luke, I don't know if you thought this, but our last week's show, I think is in the top one, let's put it that way, starting off for 50 minutes with Brian Wallachek. I had no idea that he was that funny. We've watched him bowl a lot, and we saw, what he called RBF. Mm-hmm. I'm terrible with initials. Is that Roto Grip Bowling something?
Something.
Anyway, he talked about that, and that's the way I've always kind of thought about him, kind of surly, I better strike every time. He was just the opposite on the show. I'd like to give him a segment, to be perfectly honest. If
we could.
But having everybody that we had on, and then of course at the end with Steve Klimkin laying out my stuff for Nationals and getting him on there after some of the technical difficulties we had. That whole show was that was my favorite show to date. So not sure that we'll top that this week, but we'll try. But there's all kinds of stuff going on. You've kept your eye on the PWBA tournament. You got any info or any spoiler alerts for that, or do you want to save that for later?
Yeah, we can go ahead and pick that up while we got a few minutes here. I didn't catch – there was actually 3 tournaments because they're in Long Island, so there was 3 tournaments this week. I don't remember – I know that Liz Culkin won one of them. I don't remember who won the next one, but the tournament that was on today, I was able to catch that. And a couple weeks ago, or I think it was just last Sunday, maybe, that Brianna Cote almost ran the ladder, but she got to the championship match and ran out of gas. But today, she shot 8-10. Yeah. Sherry Tan was the other one that won. Yeah, she just won a couple days ago. They had a couple of short little 2-day tournaments. Or I guess that's about the normal length. They have like 12 games of qualifying, and then they had a couple blocks of match play, and so they just stuffed everything all into 1 week. So they had a few different tournaments. So but today she shot 8-10 in her first 3 matches, and it's kind of funny that every time that there's big scores out there or something, everybody just wants to say, oh, well, these conditions are just too easy. I mean, it's not like they're professionals or anything. And for contrast here too, the opening match, Diana Zavjalova shot 2-0 at her. The next match, Stephanie Johnson shot 160 at her.
Oh, wow.
And then in the semifinal match, Shannon O'Keefe managed a 220, but then Danielle McEwen shot 170 or 180 in the championship match. So it's not like the conditions were easy. If they were easy, everybody else would have been mowing them down too, especially everybody on the show. I mean, because everybody else on the show, everybody knows when you're talking about Diana, Stephanie, Shannon, and then Danielle. I mean, that's like a murderer's row that Brianna just went through. So, and averaged something silly. She had a little bit of trouble in the last game. I think she might have only shot 2-0, 2-10, 220 or something like that. But I mean, that still put her for 4 games. She's still over 250. So.
Yeah, this is I like this view. Maybe I should do the show from here more often. We've got right behind us the Open Championships banner, and then I've got a better look here at the chat than we have in our setup at home. So I'm kind of looking at the chat. So there could be times today you and I, when we're alone waiting on the next group, that we'll take some stuff from the chat, and we appreciate everybody in the chat. But I've been out of pocket. I've heard about the stuff that's going on at the Senior Masters, and of course at the PWBA tournament, but I have not seen anything. I've seen a little bit here on site, just basically watching Spencer and Blake a little bit, and they seem just like everybody's talking about. They're not as hard, but they're also, you can make them hard. And as we just saw, Spencer start off with 160, and now he went like spare 5-bagger. I actually haven't looked at my live scoring. I'm going to be doing that a lot today here, looking at them. Actually, I'll give you an update right now. Spencer actually struck through the 7th.
Oh, okay.
So you probably have it up also. They're doing like a lot of teams there. They shot 10-25 the first game. Although their first 2 guys are struggling this game, the Blake and Spencer and Craig are bowling pretty good. So they could get to 10, higher 10 this game, but then they're obviously going to need a big game.
Yeah, they need something huge. But yeah, for those that don't know, Blake Demore is the older brother of Spencer Robarge. And so Blake's a pretty big name, kind of regionally, locally. He doesn't really get out and do a whole lot of the full pro tour. I think Spencer's been the one that's been a whole lot more visible, but Blake's definitely helped Spencer out a whole bunch in Spencer's endeavors and successes and all of that stuff. So we'll get to be able to talk to both of them about that. There was a question in the chat, and speaking of the setup and everything, we are on. I want everybody to let me know how the tech side of things is going, because we're on a different computer. I've been using my laptop down here, and it hasn't really seemed to be kind of powerful enough to smoothly and sleekly handle everything. So if everything looks and sounds good throughout the show, let me know. Now, sometimes we can't control it because it's on somebody else's end. If they have bad Wi-Fi at a hotel and they're on their phone or something like that, I mean, that's just something that we can't really help sometimes. But yeah, so we have a couple things in the chat here, and this is something I was talking to Angel about before we got done. Danielle made some kind of questionable choices in the championship match. She started off with a gem, and Brianna had been using like an Astrophysics or an RSTX2 up to the championship match, and then she switched to a Hustle Camel on the right lane. So for Danielle to be using a gem and then a reality that ended up between the two, leaving her 3.710s, that's just one of those things where somebody will look at that and, say that people will say all kinds of things. Those balls suck or whatever else, or they don't hook or whatever. It's like, well, if No, they're burning up. They were just burning up and puking all the way down the lane, and so I'm not really sure what the strategy was there. I know that Danielle doesn't have the highest rev rate, but her and Brianna have about the same rev rate. Danielle might have a little bit more speed, but a little bit more speed isn't going to make the difference between a gem and a reality all the way down to a hustle camo. So, yeah. So,
yes, Blake, there's another question about Blake shooting a couple of huge 800s with the IQ Emerald. He has done that. He also had an 897 with the dark code in a big guy, little guy tournament at Lunar Bowl. He actually got worse every game.
yeah.
I stayed for 3 games of that tournament, and then it was to see him shoot 300, 299, 298.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, I went down. I talked to him. I said, man, you just getting worse each game. And he didn't think that was all that funny. But no, he had a great tournament, obviously, there. And speaking of Double J's Pro Shop,
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
In the house. Good to see Tobias Myers also in here. Sometimes I call him Toby. It's good to see some of the chat here. You and I can tackle a little more of that. We've been so interview driven here in our first few shows, and that's great. That's what the show's about. That's what I always had the show mainly to do. But with your venue through YouTube and your 18-ish thousand subscribers,
Almost there. I'm almost there.
Yeah, so make sure you hit the subscribe button, the like button, especially the subscribe button. Yeah. And let's get Luke over 18,000. But that's you've got so many people in the chat, and normally we don't have a lot of time for chat, so we'll tackle some of the chat today. If anybody's got any questions, I am on site in Las Vegas, inside the friendly USBC open offices, or I may not be. I'm not sure. I really want to throw out that information in case somebody wants to come and get me. But
you're on site.
So I'm on site, and actually, Luke, I can't believe we've gone 14 minutes without talking about this.
Yeah.
Did you have any questions about? Did I have any food with me here, or?
Yeah. I don't know. Something about hot dogs, or.
All right. Well, let's get the mystery over with. I am gonna show this is actually number 2 of the weekend. I had one yesterday. Contrary to popular belief, I've won a day at the most. I put a little contest up on my wall. Actually, there was not really a contest because you didn't win anything, but people were guessing like 40 this week and 50, and I don't know if they thought I was Matt Cannizzaro in a hot dog eating contest or what was going on. Mm-hmm. But I think 4.5 was actually the number. There'll be a day that I miss, maybe another day that just don't, not around the stadium as much. So if I was in Vegas, and I'm in Vegas, I would set the line at 4.5. So for right now, this is 2 on day 2. There's going to be a couple of downtimes here, and you just can't do it every day. But we have a lot of fun with that. I don't know how it started last year, but of course, it was instigated by Matt, and it's been fun to talk about. When you bring Aaron on, you can talk to him about it. I don't think he's quite the hot dog connoisseur that I am. We've talked to Aaron many times about some of the draft places around here and where to go, and that's always good because Aaron knows that's Aaron's milieu. So besides bowling stuff, I know Aaron's looking forward to Reno, and Aaron's right next to me, by the way. He's just on the other side doing his work. He's checking stuff. I'll check with him here in a minute to make sure nothing major's going on, because I haven't looked at any of the other scores other than Blake and Spencer. And then we'll bring him on here in a few minutes if he's ready to go.
Okay. I'm not sure I've actually had a hot dog there. I think that normally we eat outside of the venue, and I think the only place I've had a hot dog is maybe Baton Rouge 10 years ago, or whenever that was, Baton Rouge or Syracuse or something. But I haven't had a Las Vegas hot dog cart hot dog. This is
me unfriending you on Facebook right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to fix that. So.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's just a hot dog, but it's not bad, and it's $1.75, and either $1.25 or $1.50 if you get it from the casino. Yeah, which I prefer not to. You remember I got into it with Frankie last year about Francois was telling me, hey, Aaron, there was 16 minutes the sign made it. We weren't sure it was going to make it in 2 hours, but we're falling apart here on the show. And when Aaron gets on here, I'll see if I can stick it up there, but it's probably done for the day. But things falling apart currently. But anyway, we'll get you a hot dog, and you can make your own decision. But I'm not gonna lie, it's good.
It's just hot. It's good. It's just
The price is good too.
Yeah. That might be the.
And they sell them in volume here. That there's always somebody there.
Yeah.
And actually, I got busted at the cart here today earlier. When I get a chance here, I'll post a.
Yeah. He did send me a picture.
Oh, you got that picture too. So I'll do something. I'll do something funny with that on Facebook. And actually, I want to get one of our other bowlers a shout out here who's listening right now. He just texted me. His name's Robert Gaiman, and he started bowling with our tournaments a couple of months ago, and he caught the bug. And he's brought up a bunch of people from his town when we have doubles tournaments, and we really appreciate it. So he just told me he's listening. He's jealous that I'm eating a hot dog, and he's coming in here this week also. He's bowling Wednesday and Thursdays. Actually, he's bowling the same team squad. We're bowling. He's bowling singles and doubles, but he's bowling the late squad on Thursday night, the mixed squad, and so we'll be able to watch him. But I'll give you a quick story on him, Luke, and I might have already told you this, but Robert was bowling the St. Louis Riverboat Open with me a couple of weeks ago, and he's 195-ish, 190-ish, somewhere in there, and he says, "Hey, you want to bowl 5 a game in singles?" And I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "I'll bowl you scratch." He goes, "You don't want to give me a handicap?" I said, "No." He said, "If you want to bowl me scratch." He says, "Okay." Then he goes on and wins the singles portion of the tournament, shoots 730 and had 70 pins a handicap or whatever it was, ended up with 805 and ends up winning the tournament. So I think I got taken there. He was waiting for me to come along, and actually he might have beat me by close to 300 pins with his handicap. So it was embarrassing. But anyway, Robert, we appreciate you listening, and seriously, you're one of the good guys out there, and we appreciate all the teams that you bring to Kansas City tournaments.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how that works too. There was remember in Syracuse, I met somebody that watched the channel, and they ended up bowling. I think that they bowled the same squad that we did, and then the very next year in Vegas, they were there the same time we were again, and so we're going with when I go. Trevor Baumgartner is going to be out there. Tyler Gromlovitz, bunch of locals. They're bowling with Rhino Page, so that'll be fun. But just kind of funny how that stuff tends to work out sometimes.
No doubt. So once again, Double J's in the chat here talking about his boy Dino. Of course, Double J or Single J, James Graham grew up down in Texas, or was in Texas for a lot of his bowling time, along with North Dakota and other parts unknown. We'll just say that. And I'll kind of let you talk to Wes. We'll talk more about that. And I'll get with I'll get with Aaron on the other side of the glass. He actually kind of is almost today. And we'll see if he's ready to go here in a couple of minutes. But that's kind of all I have for now. Like I said, we'll get Aaron on here in a couple of minutes. If he's good to go, 5 o'clock, we'll bring in Wes Pye. And then after that, we'll get the Springfield boys, Blake DeMore and Spencer Robarge on.
Okay, Duke. And speaking of the chat and being able to see that, with the computer comes a new monitor. So I have actually a larger monitor to look at. So I don't have to turn the computer anymore. I got my little clicky in front of me here. So we got a little bit better setup for the show now. So hopefully this works out for all parties concerned.
Well, that'll be good. Are you able to look almost straight ahead now into the camera, or how does that setup work?
Yeah, I can still mess with the placement of the monitor. I'm looking at the monitor right now, so I've got to look off a little bit, but it's at least big enough that we'll be able to reference it and actually see what's on the screen here. So you should be able to see the chat.
All right, well, I will give you an update. Tony Yarborough, the leadoff bowler on that team, is at 393. Tom Bohannon, 398. Craig Hendricks, 431 if he fills. Spencer with a big game can go out for 268. That would get him to 428. And then Blake DeMore can go 223 for 441, if I'm not mistaken, whatever that is. Yeah, 441. And so they're just early math there. They'll be in the hundreds, low hundreds over after they're done here. And, they're going to be in the cash, of course. They're a good team. And hopefully Blake and Spencer keep it up, and we'll have a lot of good stuff to talk about. I talked briefly with him, Luke, and everybody's saying the same thing. I saw Devin Bidwell out here yesterday, and a buddy of his shot 760 that bowls on his team and was throwing a proton straight up 10 and said he hardly had to move the whole night.
Yeah.
So it just depends on who you talk to and you know, what pairs you get. And speaking of which, I'm in the offices now, so I'm going to go over to Robin and I'm going to tell her exact pair that I want to be put on, and she's going to tell me to get lost. So, so anyway, I'm joking, of course. I haven't actually bowled in 3 years, so they might put me on 61 and 62. That's not even a pair. So I'm looking forward to bowling. Obviously, working last year and then COVID in 20. I haven't bowled, and this is my 25th year. Yeah. I'm with the same group I've always been with, and you know, it'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully, the plaque is ready to go and waiting for me in the squad room when I get there. And I was promised a certain red carpet and stuff, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. This will be my 3rd year going with the same group. We added a couple extra teams this year, and we have had a couple people, have had a couple additions and a couple subtractions, but it's the same kind of core group of people, and we've been going about the same time, which is the very, very end of the tournament. Now, the one thing is Mr. Brewer was quite busy over the last 6 to 8 months, and so we got signed up late. And so what we've got is 12:30 a.m. practice sessions. So the team practice sessions, and then our squad times are 9:30 p.m. Saturday the 16th and 7:30 a.m. Sunday the 17th. So we're going to be night owls just, the whole time pretty much.
Yeah, so, and that's for people who don't know, that's 2 hours difference. So your practice sessions are 2:30 in the morning, as you would normally be back in the Central Time Zone. Let me grab a couple of more questions and comments in the chat here before we bring Aaron on. Toby, I'll be in Vegas till Friday. I'll be bowling Thursday at 9:30 p.m. and Friday at 6. I think those are the exact times. If not, they're within a half an hour, and I'm always on time. So, and also, James, I did not see any of the finals of the Senior Masters. I've been running around crazy today, doing some other stuff, getting ready for the show and taking care of some other things. So Wes is going to bring me up to snuff, and of course, Luke a little bit, and give us some insight on what exactly happened. As from the way I understand it, Wes got to see all of it. Mark actually went over to the venue and watched to watch Chris Barnes and watch everybody else. So Wes took over and watched the shop, and he was able to watch online, I believe. So he can talk to you about that. And actually, I'm going to lean across the table here and check with my compadre, Aaron Smith, to see if he is ready. And without giving away any radio insider info, he has given me the head nod that he is ready to come on. So we're going to make the awkward transition from me getting out of the screen, taking my hot dog to the side here, and I'll turn it over to Aaron. Aaron's got some good stuff for you here. And like I said, if he's got to go, he's got to go. Well, and while you're on with him, I'm going to monitor. I'm going to kind of do like I did last year. I'm just going to monitor scores, and if I see something going on, of course, I don't know any of the divisions. I don't have the inside info on that anymore, unless Aaron has my USBC code in the other computer. I got blacked out. I stayed on the email list for a little while. I got a couple, and then all of a sudden I was gone, which obviously that needs to be done. So I will turn it over to Aaron. Aaron is on his way. The long trek over from his side. Aaron, you ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right. Luke, you want to give him his intro as he's coming over?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let me get out of the screen here. We'll get a better looking guy on.
Yeah. USBC Public Relations Director. That's what I've been calling him anyway. So I don't know whether or not that's actually a thing, but he's the Public Relations Director. That's a little bit of a tongue twister. That's the one when I'm doing the intros. I have to say that every single week when I'm doing our intros. And I always and so I get lost. But I mean, I'll still keep calling you that. Whether or not that's actually your title, it sounds good. So
I do like the sound of it. So
yeah.
I will gladly take it. Luke, how you doing today, man?
We're doing pretty good. We actually went out, and this is the day that we normally go get our fireworks supply. We have here out in Kansas, we go shoot fireworks on the farm. However, we do a big production. My uncle's got a whole setup for the mortars out in the cornfield. And so he's got that all set up, and he sets it up with fuses. And so he just has to light one fuse. He's got a bunch of long fuses, so he gets them all timed right. And so we've got those going up periodically, and we got a bunch of cakes that we put on their driveway, and we set music to it and everything. So it's kind of a big production. So this is normally the day that we go get our fireworks supply for the grand show here in a couple weeks. So that's what we were doing earlier today. So I'm fantastic. How are you?
Well, not quite as ambitious with the fireworks today for me. So I've been waiting for fireworks out on the lanes. Obviously, the PWBA show you guys were talking about, Dino Castillo over at the Senior Masters. Plenty of fireworks out there. It's been a pretty quiet day so far at the Open Championships, other than Waz making all the South Point employees worried over by the hot dog cart. But it's that's kind of the ebb and flow. We've had some really great teams in these past couple of days. The defending Team All Events champions from New York, Bowl U, that crew, two great teams of competitors, and they didn't get back to the top of the leaderboard, but they came damn close. So a big shout out to their group for just a really great overall effort. And then last night, late last night, a team that has had success here before, formerly known as Team Tilt, now Shock City, with some great players out of the Wichita and Wichita State connection there. Jay Futrell.
Yeah, I know them quite well. They I bowl. We have a scratch draft league in Lawrence, Kansas on Thursday nights, and we all those guys bowl in it. So Jeff Poston, Russ Wilson, Jay Futrell, those guys, they've had a team eagle before. I think Jay's got 2 eagles.
He took home in all events as well in the senior team. So, they tried yesterday. They put up a nice number. Got to top 15 score in the team event, 33-49 when it was all said and done. So they got their picture taken. But unfortunately, today didn't go quite in the same fashion for him. Tom Alt made a nice run. Final game of singles, started with the front 7 before that came to an end. I think he got to about 740 or so. We had another great group on the lanes, another past group of champions at the tournament, Andrew Kane, Chris Clerk, Adam Ishman, Kyle King, and their group out of Arizona and Phoenix. And those guys, that bowled well, just unfortunately nothing leaderboard worthy of the performance this year. So, but as talented as all those players are, it's they're going to be back. They're going to be getting their picture taken here. We're going to be writing about them again. But 2022 just didn't work out probably the way they hoped. But that's the great thing about the Open Championships. There's always next year. There's always another 9 games coming up. So always look forward to see just kind of how folks kind of make their way through the tournament each and every year. And we'll get to see those folks again next year. Yeah,
I know that those guys, or at least the local guys, really like going out there because they're usually in the they're usually up there in the top standings. Even though that Jeff Poston guy, they had to sub him in, and he's just kind of hanging on to the team now. And every once in a while, he kind of puts something up there. But I think he his thing is sportsbook, so I'm sure he's out there. He's doing some craziness out of sportsbook.
I talked to Jeff for a quick second before they took the lanes for team last night, and he said those guys were definitely prepared to go. He said he was here to have a little bit more fun and was going to enjoy the experience. So I know Jeff does a lot with collegiate bowling as well over at Ottawa University. So I appreciate all the effort he puts into that. And the Waz just entered the chat. How about that? You're right here.
Yeah, he's figuring out that technology, I think.
I guess so.
On his iPhone 4 or whatever.
I wish.
But yeah, always great to see those guys. A very fun crew to watch bowl. Obviously, the past success that they've had out on the lanes as well is always fun to talk about and hear and see. And so that's what it's all about here. Just kind of seeing who's coming in next, who's going to do the next big thing, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, those are the kind of guys too that you can't ever tell really how well they're doing. They're just very quiet. So just from watching them, unless you can see the scores, you can't ever tell if those guys are shooting 540 or 740. They just kind of go up and throw the ball, and then they come back, and then they go up and do it again, and you can't really even tell what's happened. And I'm not even sure if they smiled for the photographs.
I got a couple smiles out of them. So.
Yeah. All right. So what do we got on? Do we have an update on Spencer and Blake? Heather, I know it's only been a few minutes, but
I got a hot dog receipt with writing on it here from Dave.
Okay. Yeah, that's about how it works here. We've got a giant notepad that he kind of scribbles stuff on, and sometimes I don't know if it's relevant information or if it's just doodlings.
Well, apparently he ordered room service, so apparently they deliver hot dogs to the room. But look, it sounds like the Robarge team 2091 after 2 games, so plus 91 overall. So to get to that 34-86 up at the top, that's going to take a big effort. But stranger things have happened here. We've seen big scores in the final game. That's going to be a really, really big score. That would be a tournament record-breaking score to get there, but.
They have the front 6 right now.
That's why we're here. The front 6. All right.
Game 3.
Here's your receipt back.
That one's a little more expensive than the hot dog.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm definitely be watching the live scoring for Mr. Waswo here in the coming days. That ought to be. Hopefully, he's had his fueling with hot dogs by then, and we'll see see some kind of impressive performance. What do you think?
Is that 1,800 for me? Is that?
I don't know, but again, like I said last week, if you don't shoot that, we can blame Steve. It can all be Steve's fault.
There you go.
Great.
That's a nice thing. But my real goal for Dave this week is I'm not concerned about the scores on the lanes, but I'm hoping that the hot dog cart folks get to see him so much that he becomes Norm from Cheers, and they just they see him, they know what he wants on his hot dog. It's already ready to go. And he basically just walks by and they have it, hand out hot dog ready for him. So that's what I'm really hoping for. But I feel that the 1,800 is a good barrier. I feel that's been an elusive goal for Dave here for a couple of years now, and obviously. Matt always given him a hard time about that and posting his participation record from time to time when needed. So I will continue that if I have to. But yeah, I'm hoping for big things here. I could see him, being a couple of years away from it, getting back into the rhythm of things, and maybe a little less pressure on himself. So I'll be rooting for that 1,800 plus, help that lifetime average. But that 25-year plaque's going to be pretty cool. So. I told him just to change it to WAZ, W-A-Z. So personalized by me as well. So there we go.
Yeah, well, I think he needs to shoot for some bigger targets because, it's going to be a while getting to 100,000 pins if he doesn't kind of, pump up the scores here.
That's true. But the good news for him is we've seen that participation number go up again here at the Open Championship. So just a couple days ago, a gentleman from San Antonio, Bob Martin, celebrated his 60th tournament. And he's right on the cusp of getting close to 100,000. So I believe he's just got over 96,000 pins. So he's a couple years away from still reaching that. But Bob, 87 years old, has driven to every Open Championships. And he did that again this year. He says, I really don't like to fly. Prefer to drive. He was a traveling salesman back in the day. So he doesn't mind driving at all. And so he drove out here from San Antonio. It sounded like it was one, almost straight shot, not wasting any time, with stops for hot dogs or anything like that. What is the over-under for hot dog references, by the way?
I said it at 4.5. People guessing online are in the 20s, 30s.
Well, no, he was saying hot dog references, not hot dogs consumed. So yeah, for hot dog references, we're probably pushing 15 already. That's only been 37 minutes.
Now, Luke, you can hear me just fine from here. Is that correct?
Yep. So
Okay.
yeah, so you better be careful with that if there's.
Well, once again, I wasn't listening there, and kind of like when he's on the show, I'm on the other end, and he talked about the super senior shootout, and
Yeah.
super part kind of go over my head. So I was kind of piddling with my phone, so I didn't catch the references. But the references, there is no line. Vegas would not allow or get any action on the under. As far as the actual hot dogs, though, I set it at 4.5. But if you check out my last post, most people are guessing well above that.
Yeah. This, by the way, this kind of works out like a drive-through at a fast food restaurant. So I found out something interesting the other day is even if you can't hear them, they can still hear you. Keep that in mind when you're in a drive-through and you're just having some random conversations. They can still hear you the whole time. So just like I can hear you. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I don't care about either one of you. But I do care about Aaron because Aaron, as Matt did, and as Aaron just alluded to, he can make you look like the worst bowler in the world with one little click of a button in your lifetime USBC results, and it's not fun to have that posted on your wall.
Yeah, mine's not too bad, but it's not really that great either. I think I've had a bunch of stuff. I had one really bad year in Baton Rouge that was like mid-16s or something, but everything else has been like 1750 to 1780 with a 19 something in there. And last year I shot my first. I've been there like 10 or 11 times. I shot my first 1800 last year. It's either been 1900 or 1700, and we just won't talk about the 1600.
Well, that's what, going back to 2014 when the team scores were a little bit higher, that was, Zeno Garcia and those guys, Artistic Expressions won. They said, we're not even going to shoot the first 3,600 in the tournament. They went straight to 3,700 on the way to the win. So we're still waiting for the first 3,600. Based off of things, I don't think that's happening this year. But once again, you never know until that final ball is rolled on July 18th. So in similar fashion, no 3,600s ever bowled here, but we got a 3,700. So
yeah, that's kind of funny that everybody talking about how high the scores are this year, but it's still, if you look at the averages, they're up a little bit, but it's not anything crazy, and there's not any crazy big record-setting numbers. Aside from the team all events, I would consider probably a crazy big number, but everything else is, it's maybe a little bit higher, but still, it's somewhat reasonable. You're going to have, no matter how tough they are, you're still going to have people come in and shoot crazy numbers, no matter what. Just like I was talking about with Brianna Cote on the show earlier, nobody else could manage anything above 220 at her, and she shot 810 her first three. So sometimes people just come in, it doesn't matter how tough they are, they get matched up, they make shots, and stuff happens. So
absolutely, and I know that was a big thing, on social media with the 300s, because we were having them come in left and right, throughout April and May, and ever since I wrote Was in Vegas on the board over here, there has not been one since then. So we have not had a single 300 here in June, and we've had a bunch of 299s, we've had a bunch of front 10s, we've had runs at 800, we've had just about everything, new doubles leaders. Look at this guy go.
Yeah. The black cloud knows no bounds. All you have to do is just write his name on a board in there, and
it's like he's making a reference to. But yeah, so that's been an interesting kind of development after we got to 36 really quick, and a lot of folks were talking about, are we going to get to 64, which is the record from back in Billings in 2002, and then slowed down with the 300s at least. So still a lot of great bowling happening. Just still waiting for that next person to connect. I think it's pretty surprising we haven't had one in June yet, but that's just kind of part of the ebb and flow of the tournament. We had 1 week where we had I think 8 of them, and now we haven't had a 300 for nearly 2 weeks now. So of course I've probably just jinxed myself, and I'm going to be taping like 6 of them in the next 18 hours. But yeah, it's interesting how that works. But scoring pace still definitely up there. We got a front 4.
That's all I got for you on the jinx update. Some guy has a front 4.
Some guys have a front 4.
Ironically enough, though, we did have a 300 today at the women's championships over at Stardust Bowl in Addison, Illinois. So Jody Sarney, who some folks may know as Jody Golick previously, 300, 806 in her double set, on the way to take the lead in the top division, the Diamond division, in all events. So we got some big scores still happening, across the USBC spectrum. Obviously, Dino rolling a 300 today in the step ladder, and I think 812 for his first three. So they're happening. They're around here. We just haven't had them at the Open Championships for 2 weeks somehow.
Yeah, well, there's I don't know. There's only they're a little over a month left in the tournament now. So of course you guys are running daily. So like you said, there's a lot of stuff that could pop up. I know that there's a few in the groups when I'm out there. I don't really think anybody on our group, but the group with Reno Page, it's a couple of local guys from here. Trevor Baumgartner is the best lefty you've never heard of, and then Tyler Gromlovitz is getting ready to go to Weber. Actually, he spent a couple of years at a college here and took a couple of years off. And he's transferring to Weber. He's also pretty good, so I could see those guys, and of course Reno Page. Obviously could put something up there, but that might be a few good names to watch. I don't know who else that they have with them, but there might be a Dylan Burns sighting too. He's a regional champion. He won the RPI a couple years ago or whatever it was. It's just the regional. It wasn't the RPI, I guess. It was the regional finalist, the top 32 in points or whatever. He won the regional championship, the points championship or something.
Yeah, and we still have one. Oh, go ahead.
No, just kind of rambling my way through that like I tend to do. So,
but one regular division champion still yet to come out here, and that's the regular team champions from 2021 before the first frame. So that group does include Kyle Troop. Chris Hans and his group, always competitive out here. So that's, there's still definitely not a lacking of talent making their way to the Open Championships. And along with, the names you mentioned, Reno obviously has had some success here over the years, and even had a team named after him for a couple of years there. But yeah, we're continuing to looking forward to it. Looking at the big board, mostly it's Milestones, kind of looking ahead to everything we got going on. What we got here, Dave?
We got a front eight from Daniel Smothers. You may need to exit the premises. And, I just found him on lane 19. That was a pair I was talking about earlier, having some guys who look pretty good. And he's sitting at just by my rudimentary math what is he sitting at there? He's still got 120 pins left out, so he can go 733. So he's at 433. So nothing going on there, but he is bowling team, so he could set up a nice score for his all events. But Aaron, do you need to run, or you got somebody covering that, or you want me to just go get my old badge on and go out there?
We won't put you to work too much here, Dave. But,
you don't want me to cloud, right?
Yeah. So Aaron,
I'm sorry. I didn't get that. When I was here last year, I hated it, because it's a once in a lifetime thing they're doing out there. In our tournaments, I could care less if they shoot 300. So they've done it many times. So we're monitoring this. Actually, he's not going to be up for a couple 3 bowlers. So we'll let Aaron monitor that. I'll leave my phone here, and if he has 9, I assume you're going to have to exit the premises, correct?
Well, I got some folks watching stuff for me out there.
Oh,
so
okay. You stay as long as you want, dude.
You might have just double black clouded him anyway. So.
Yeah, I got a bad feeling.
Let's see over under on that.
All right, so Daniel Smothers looking to end the streak live here on the Bowler Show. So that's pretty nice. And you finished. And this guy's just throwing stuff all over my office.
Official. Well,
yeah.
There's going to be crumbs involved when I'm around that. I got Sam was that last year.
This is why I can't have nice things.
Yeah. Matt couldn't have nice things for about a month and a half last year either. So.
Story of our lives.
Store my bowling equipment right over in this corner.
It's actually $10, so they'll actually cheaper. But yeah, we'll keep an eye out here for Daniel. If he does get number, it is going to be a minute before he's up there. So yeah, I still got a couple minutes. I know we got. You guys got Wes joining in about 10 as well. So
yeah.
Yeah, we're this is now the Roast Waz show.
Yeah.
Look, this is going towards I might make this a better show than last week because I'm doing a lot less work and I'm enjoying this even more. So
yeah, all we need is Jeff Ross and we'll be set up for the roast here.
So when Aaron does get done, whether he's got Daniel or not, I don't know if that'll affect him. If he can still sneak over to the storm booth and grab Wes Pye right at 5 either way. But we'll keep monitoring this. This is exciting. I hope I didn't. I don't know. Does this count as a black cloud if he doesn't get the 9th, Luke?
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I don't think it's a black cloud until you actually get a camera on somebody. But, you know, if Aaron were to go out and get a camera on him and he doesn't shoot 300, this would obviously, I think, be a factor. So, yeah, be a black cloud with an asterisk.
If I had a nickel for every time that somebody had the front 7 last year and I came out of the office running like crazy, and before I got down there, the monitors are waving me off just go back. I could. Okay, Aaron Smith is on the clock currently. Daniel Smothers has smothered another strike.
All right.
And Aaron knows what's at stake now.
I do.
My favorite line. So I think Aaron's gonna get out of here and go get the 300. And Aaron, when you get a chance, grab Wes whenever it's convenient for you.
All right, we got a process in place. So,
Yeah.
Luke, I appreciate it as always, and to all the folks watching as well. Thanks for checking in from Las Vegas, and please continue the Waz roast without me, but I'm sure it will be great. So thanks again, folks, and hopefully we got number 37 coming up next. So I'm gonna go find out and see about Daniel, and we'll have Wes coming up soon.
All right.
All right, thanks, Luke.
Thank you.
And man, that would be exciting if we're just talking about black clouds and nobody in June, and me coming in here in Vegas, and all of a sudden somebody shooting 300. That'd be great. So I'll keep that up on my phone. We'll keep an eye on that as we roll along here in the Bowler Show. Like I said, Luke, I'm enjoying this. I'm not putting near the effort into this show as I have before. I feel like a little bit of angel here. I'm just bringing in the guests, letting them go, and I'll be doing the same with Wes. But this is good. This is good for you. You can see the turmoil that I go through when I'm trying to come up with the next question. Of course, I write this stuff down. You're not a note guy. I'm scribbling everywhere, and you're just like, well, I'll just wing it. And
no. See, the funny thing is I used to, and I thought when we came into this, I did a little show called 30 Clean, where I'd have a different pro on for like 30. The idea was to have a different pro on for like 30 minutes. Just ask them all the same general set of a few questions, because I wanted to see the different answers. The same question, but I wanted to see the different answers, different perspectives, whatever else. And so I had all kinds of notes and stuff all over here, and even having the note in front of me, sometimes I'd read it to make sure I had the question right, and I'd fumble up halfway through it, and then I'd have some questions later, and kind of feeling like I had to say something. It's one of those things we talked about that last week with
Dave Lamont.
Yes, Dave Lamont. And that's sometimes you just need to shut up and let them talk. And if I ever felt like the second half of that show, I didn't have scripted at all, and so I thought, I can make it through 15 minutes, and I could not make it through 15 minutes. Matter of fact, and I thought with this, then you were going to be asking most of the stuff. All I'd have to come up with is a question or two, and so I've actually relaxed quite a bit, so that's helping out with the no note taking. I just kind of get myself a general idea of what I want to say, and then when I worry about sounding like an idiot, I sound like more of an idiot than when I don't worry about sounding like an idiot. So if I'm going to be an idiot either way, I'm going to be a comfortable idiot. So.
It's if we were making if we were banking a ton of money off this gig and we wanted to be real journalists and stuff, we would tighten some things up. But that is not what we're here for, and that's not what we care about. But I'm interested to see when you interview Verity. That's when I want to see if you're able to put two words together without your tongue falling out of your mouth. And I know you've been waiting. I've been trying to get her on. Unfortunately, it just hasn't worked out. And she's had a pretty good first half of the tour here. So it'd be fun to get her on, and of course have you interviewed. It would be like me interviewing Leanne, even though I've talked to her many times in real life.
Yeah.
The times I've had her on the show, of course, before, and I'm like, man, I just don't want to mess this up because it's my favorite bowler ever. So we're still monitoring Daniel Smothers on my end right now. The gentleman before him has just finished his frame, so we're going to keep an eye on this. Hopefully, not too many spoiler alerts in the chat. I know Double J is probably watching
right now on his score. And actually, once Daniel's done, we'll get you an update on Blake and Spencer's game. They started off pretty good this game, a couple of doubles through the first frame and clean. So we'll keep you updated on that also. So I don't know. Aaron's, like I said, he's got somebody else out there. I don't know who he grabbed, but he's heading out there, and we'll get Wes Pye on here a little bit. And you can kind of delve into really anything. Wes knows everything that's going on today. So I'll let you there'll be plenty to talk to. And you if you can and he's good, which I'm sure he is. I talked to him. You just keep him as long as we can until we need to bring in Blake and Spencer. And once we get to their update, we'll know about what time they're going to get in here, because I told them, hey, you need to come up here right when you're done, and they'll worry about their brackets or equipment and all that kind of stuff later. But Daniel Smothers 10th frame strike, so
all right,
2 away from breaking the Waz on here. I like the roast Waz show. We should do that once a year with each of us. Just people call in, rail on whoever. You're the worst righty lefty ever. I'm the biggest hot dog eater, whatever. It's all in fun, and that's the whole idea of the show. But you notice I got that the banner up behind me. It's still hanging in there for now. It's been used a lot. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about the over/under on that sign stand back up on the wall. So it made it 15 minutes the first time.
Unfortunately, the party is over for Daniel Smothers. One of the Smothers brothers has left a single pin in the 11th frame. Is going to settle in for 289 if he picks it up. So unfortunate for him, but I guess the people that want to talk about Black Cloud can have a little fun with that and put all the blame on me. And as we do that, we'll flip over to 29 and 30 and the aforementioned group here. And I know this is great radio when I just talk while I'm not doing anything. We're going to cancel the early party of the big game in the last game. They've fallen on hard times. Tom Bohannon with a couple of misses. Tony Yarborough a double and a miss. Greg Hendrick does have a triple this game, and he's sitting at 441. So Aaron Smith has let me know that Daniel Smothers left a solid 9-pin. So that ended his fun. Spencer Robards clean through 4. Blake DeMore front 3 and a miss. So they are in the 5th frame right now, game 3. So I think 5:30 is looking pretty good for when they get done. And we'll keep, like I said, we'll keep an eye on the time there. And Wes is good for whatever. We've had him on before. I don't remember where he was. Was he just part of the group that joined us with Mark Anderson?
Yeah. I think because Mark had a bunch of people that were just happened to be standing there on there. So I think he might have been one of the ones, or he thought he was going to be able to get Wes, and then Wes was out for some reason or something. So I don't know. I don't know if we actually got him or not, but his name was floated around at least.
Yeah, Wes ended up on with Donna Connors, Carol Norman. Tom Hess, I believe, snuck in there for a little bit. And it was kind of fun when Mark did that out here. He just grabbed whoever.
Yeah. Chris Barnes was out there, and that's another name that was on the Senior Masters show. Once we talked to Wes about that, it was Chris Warren, Parker Bone, Jack Jurek, Chris Barnes, and Dino Castillo. So that's a pretty star-studded lineup to talk about. Like we said, you didn't get to catch any of it. You were kind of busy today, and I was out helping other people spend a bunch of money to blow up. So I didn't catch the Senior Masters either, so we'll get to hear his take on that. And then the Pete Weber situation that seems to have been blown a little bit out of proportion. So he'll be able to tell us a little bit about that. So
yeah, the 4 guys who used to beat me on tour, and then one newbie, Dino, who was not as young as or as old as I was, so I didn't really bowl anything with him. But some of those names obviously bowled when I did, and now they're still bowling well, and I'm doing a radio show with you.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing too, is that the spoiler alert, but Aaron Smith I'll blame Aaron. He spoiled it a minute ago. Dino shot 300 today, and he won, and that is his first PBA title of any kind. And he's been around forever. He's one of the guys that you just know, and that's one of those stats you tell him people, oh yeah, it's his first PBA win, and it's one of the things that doesn't make any sense. So.
Yeah, Dino, I crossed with him at the IB Open one time, and I'm not gonna lie, he just had fun the whole time, and it was just a fun guy. And I've seen him bowl. We've all seen his style, and it seems like, hey, when the lanes open up, he can really put up some scores with the angles he can use. And that is surprising. Has he not won a regional or just a PBA title?
I don't know. Yeah, we just got a comment in the chat there. His first national title, he has won regionals. Yeah, I'd be stunned if he hadn't won some regionals. But yeah, this is his first standard PBA, big tour title of, whenever. And then, but at the same time, you can't really say, oh yeah, but it's a senior title because of who you got bowling in the seniors now. It's all the people that, I grew up with the Chris Barnes. Chris Barnes is in there now. Parker Bone and Pete and Walter Ray and all these guys that you don't think are quite old enough yet that are somehow old enough to bowl the senior tour now. So a bunch of guys that have the most dominant, I would say, class outside of a few of them like Earl Anthony and Mark Roth. We're talking about Walter Ray's got the most tournaments ever. Norm Duke, who is second on the list. Pete Weber's third on the list. I guess no, it'd be after excluding Mark Roth and Earl Anthony. Earl Anthony had has the second most amount of titles. Walter Ray and then Norm, Pete, and then you get into Chris Barnes and there's some other guys that aren't far off now. So it's just a bunch of guys that were really successful on the big tour. So it's not like you go into the senior tour and the competition disappears. And then, of course, you got guys that like Ron Moore that we talked to a couple weeks ago that could have competed, could have won a lot of stuff on the kids tour, but had, life took him a different direction. And now he's winning all kinds of stuff out there. So there's even extra competition that these guys didn't have, 20, 30 years ago. And now they're bowling against some guys. And that's another thing where some people might have a regular life and not go out on the kids tour. And then, things kind of settle down and they get out on the senior tour and have some success there. So.
Exactly. And it's like I said, that's the reason I'm here doing the show right now. All the aforementioned names that you said, they used to beat me up when I was 21 and 35 out on tour. So why would I go back out there and, try to beat the same guys? And that's a good point you made. People talk about it's a senior event. Well, look at the names.
Yeah.
Some of the greats in history that, bowling's changed. When guys were 40, 45, their careers were over back in the 70s. Now, some of them, as we've seen, and then Norm especially, it's just beginning at times. So I'll tell you what, somebody has came into the Aaron Smith studio here who is going to be coming on the show. I don't know if I remember his exact title from the previous time we had him on, but we'll just bring him on. He's a hardworking guy. He bowled a little bit when I bowled, and that's why he's in the storm booth right now also. So he's taken over for Mark a little bit today, and we may or may not. I'll get with Mark. Like I said, with Steve fixing my stuff, Mark will end up doing some stuff with surfaces, and he's always been great about that. But Wes Pye is going to join us here. Wes, you're just going to walk on over here and flip with me. Sure. Luke is going to give you some sort of awkward intro, and then we're going to actually I'm going to bow out here, and you're going to come right in here.
All righty.
Wes, I'm sorry, I remember your exact title with Storm, but you guys can take care of that. So
yeah, well, welcome in, Mr. Wes Pye. I'll let you. I do have to address a comment here first because Mr. James Graham said Dino with the hashtag We Dem Boys. Dino with the Cowboys jersey on as always. I'm not sure that's probably what Dino's problem has been wearing Cowboys jerseys. That's why he hasn't been winning stuff before. But so anyway, welcome into the show, Mr. Wes Pye. Why don't you tell everybody what your official title actually is and kind of what you do for Storm?
Well, my official title is Vice President of Business Development. So I help handle a lot of the intellectual property. So anybody wanting to use any of the logos or the marks or what have you, we work with them on licensing projects. So if it's apparel, if it's any particular item, somebody wants to do something in co-op and work with us, we're open for business insofar as using any of the marks for any of our brands, Storm, Rotagrip, 900 Global, 3G, and Master. So we have quite a bit of, and that extends to apparel and tournaments and what have you. So that's part of it. Another part is I'm kind of freelancing where I help with anything. Timmy Mack and Hank Boomershine and I, we help Woody Austin with his Storm golf bag. Right now I'm helping be here on site at the Storm booth. Work with Mark Anderson. He and I've been buddies since for over 30 years, something years ago. We were roommates back in Baltimore, which is a whole nother story for another day. But so my title lets me be able to work a lot of different areas and be able to fill a lot of different holes. So kind of work with the boys at Storm with Gary and Hank and Ernest and Dave and all the crew there with Corbett and all those guys that I've known for so many years. So it's been pretty good, and also help Matt Kabansky a little bit with any questions when it comes to 900 Global. So I guess I'm kind of a jack of all trades and a master of something. So whatever.
Yeah, that's one of those and other duties as assigned type that
Right.
part of the job description. So I think Waz and I weren't able to catch the senior masters, but we heard that there was some pretty cool things going on there. So why don't you kind of run us through that and break that down?
Well, I tell you what, we had it on in the booth, courtesy of Bowl TV, which did a great job. Mike Flanagan, Tommy Hess did a nice job, capturing the action and kind of giving everybody the breakdown on it. Dino Castillo had a heck of a day, had a career day today. Started out with the first 16 in a row. He was a man possessed. I mean, Chris Barnes gave him a good fight, but as always in some of these, you kind of get down to one shot going one way or the other. And Dino took a little different angle, a little different line, and he actually continued to chase the pattern in the left, whereas Chris had stayed out to the right, and then that continued on Dino's match against Jack. He shot 300 in the opening match. Sorry if this is a spoiler alert for those of you who may be tuning in or rewatch it, but he did shoot 300, first 16 in a row. And also, as Mike noted, there wasn't any incentive for that 300 game, but certainly, getting to that next step. Then Dino bowled Jack Jurek, had a good match with Jack, went on to defeat him, and then Parker Bone, another really tightly contested match. And then he had to defeat Chris Warren, who was the tournament leader, came out of the winner's bracket. He had to defeat him twice. And he prevailed. And I got to give Dino a lot of credit. Tip of the cap to a fellow Texan that I'm glad to see him get to the winner's circle. Long overdue. He's been a good player a long time, and he had to go through a couple tough Texans with Chris Warren and Chris Barnes to do it.
Yeah, there was a whole lot of Texas on there. Now, Chris Barnes is originally from Topeka, which is where I'm from, but he's been in Texas for so long now. I mean, 30 plus years now, I think. So
Right.
Yeah, he claims Texas, and so there was a whole lot of Texas all over that show then.
Yeah, and I noticed your comment about the Dallas Cowboys colors, but if you know anything about Texas, you know that there's a big contingent of folks that they love their Dallas Cowboys, and they go with them boys. How about them Cowboys, and they stick with them. So I got to give Dino a lot of credit. I'm a Ravens guy from my Baltimore days, but I got to give all them Cowboys a shout out. They love them. They love them Cowboys, man.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of stuck here being Royals fans. Being Chiefs fans has worked out really well the last several years, despite some people not being so excited when we drafted Patrick Mahomes. That turned out to be a little pie in the face of some people. But we're currently struggling with the Royals here. They gave us they gave us a little bit of life here a couple of years ago, but they're back to being the Royals now. So we can make Cowboys jokes because we know.
Hey, right there with you. Certainly understand, because I suffer with my Orioles too. So there you go.
Yeah, we make a joke about that because Mike Sinek is on we got a staff show that we have for the staffers every week, and they've got to roast his Orioles every once in a while. So
well, you can add Mr. Anderson. He and I are long suffering Orioles fans, along with Mr. Sinek and some of our buddies in that neck of the woods, Danny Wiseman and Andy Brenneman, a whole bunch of us from that area that we still hang in there with them.
All right, so I'm not a big drama guy, but it seems like this would be a way to diffuse the drama a little bit. There's some people that want to know about the Pete Weber situation. It seems to be a little, once I kind of heard a little bit from Jeff Riggle, seems like the whole thing was kind of overblown, and people get their imaginations going. If Pete's name is in the news, people just imaginations start running wild. So tell us what you know about that.
Well, I talked to some folks. I wasn't there myself, but I talked to some folks that were there, that were nearby, and as well as Rob Gottschall was right by what I've been told. Rob was right there and had a firsthand view of it, and certainly Rob is in charge of that event, and is a great bowler, great tournament director. So based on the decisions he had to make, there was a disagreement between a spectator and Pete. The spectator was the wife of the gentleman he was bowling. So there was different versions of what happened. I certainly wasn't there. I've heard it 2 or 3 different ways. but certainly in any heated competitive atmosphere, emotions can can take the best of you. And certainly we know Pete's one of the best of all time. And as Pete Weber has said in the past, who do you think you are? I am. It was kind of one of those moments. That we've seen that before. Pete's an emotional guy, and that's fueled a lot of his passion for this game. That's made him a Hall of Famer and a champion for decades and decades. So, right, wrong, or indifferent, we have to kind of watch what we do when we're on the lanes and off the lanes, when we're talking to fans or spectators, what have you. Regrettably, some actions had to be taken. And, needless to say, the people that were there that were in charge, Rob had to make a tough call. But he was right there. He got all the information, and you got to trust the fact that he made the right decision for what he felt was right to do in that situation to exercise the discipline upon Pete that he did.
Yeah, and that's Dave's been in it for a lot longer than I have. I used to, and even just running my wife and I used to run some little sweeper tournaments late on a Friday night after everybody got done with league, and we never really, 40, 50 people, but even then, being on the other side of that at least gives you the perspective to think that every once in a while you got to make decisions, you got to re-rate people getting out of hand, you got to you got to draw a line somewhere, and you got to make that line hard and fast so that nobody thinks you're picking on them or whatever else. And sometimes things just are the way that they are, and you got to put your foot down and say, hey, sorry, things got out of line, got out of hand. This is what had to be done. So,
and as you well know, there's three sides to every story. There's your side, my side, and the cold hard truth. Yeah. And so there's something in between there. So needless to say, when you're caught up in the heat of competition and you're competing, in Pete's side, hey, he had an incredible day the day before. Really, he was the tournament leader. He had the biggest block of the tournament, came out, shot 300. I mean, he was on fire. And needless to say, there's a lot of pressure being number one versus number 64. How many times have we ever seen that happen in an event that the tournament leader is bowled, a lower seed, and hey, you're starting back at zero again. And there's a lot of pressure that, and needless to say, the fresh wasn't exactly where Pete had the best look. I was just talking to Donnie, one of the PBA lane men, and as good as maybe the look Timmy Mack had, an incredible look, shooting 265 over that third round on the fresh. Pete had a little struggle on the fresh. So you kind of couple these things together, and sometimes, things can get a little out of hand, and, you need to kind of check it and get refocused. And unfortunately, hopefully Pete will be back on the lanes real soon and get going and moving forward. And Mr. Delaney's a heck of a bowler. I've talked to some people that know him. He's a class gentleman also from Texas. From the Houston Beaumont area, and he's a great competitor. He's matter of fact, I think he just recently won his first regional, and so congratulations to him for having a great event. Unfortunately, you don't want to see anybody's performances marred with any kind of disagreement like this.
Yeah, but I think it's Pete will bounce back. I mean, he always does. That's just kind of his thing, and yeah, especially in that situation, I can see where you don't want to be. I mean, it's like the first 1 versus 16 in the NCAA tournament. The 16 beat Illinois or something a couple years ago, and that's got to be. I mean, it doesn't matter who you're actually playing, the quality of anybody. People see that number. They see 1 versus 16 or 1 versus 64, and they just want to. They're just going to want to talk. But it kind of reminds me of you were saying there's always three sides to a story. I used to, when I was in retail, I used to say the customer's always right. They're just not always correct. And I think that might be one of these situations here.
Exactly, but they are still the customer.
Yeah.
I saw this little question about the wrap and the light and the pro shop. And just to kind of address that, I'd have to kind of tell you that's probably the guys up there in Brigham. That probably was going to be Gary Holzenberg and Ernest Godick and some of those guys. And where they kind of come up with some of those ideas is the salesmen go out around the country. They get ideas from pro shops. In a lot of cases, in their weekly reports, that information gets filtered, to the guys in marketing and sales, what have you, in product development, to say, hey, here's a possible good idea we could come up with being that wrap and that light. So, when you get some of that feedback from the pro shop saying this is what I'd like to see to help promote your products. So that's what they do to kind of embrace that. So I'd have to give the credit there to Gary Holzenberg and Blair Blumscheid and Ernest Godick and some of those folks up there that kind of put that together. Even Stevie Klimpkin and his group, Stevie Klimpkin and everything up there with with those guys.
Yeah, there's always all kinds of ideas floating around. We hear about something new almost every week on the staff show, whatever Gary's cooking up or Blair's working on, or things beyond that. The gears are always turning in the background. So I know that you say that you wear a lot of hats in the job that you do, but what are a couple of your favorite hats?
Wow, that's a good one. I tell you what, I've really enjoyed being here at the Open Championship. I've been here since since the Special Olympics kickoff event back in March, and I've been able to see people that I've known for well over 40 years. Being if it was some of my old buddies, and I even saw Jeff Bellinger. He and I actually bowled in college together. He taught me how to drop a 5-speed of all things. So even back to folks like Jeff and some of my buddies in South Carolina or Atlanta or Baltimore or Salt Lake or now Texas and what have you. When I was with Hammer or working for the ladies tour, Don Adamek came in early on in the tournament. We put a little thing up on the booth page about who is this Hall of Fame bowler. And some people mistakenly said I was Wayne Webb. So I'm sorry, Mr. Webb. I apologize for that. But it was Don Adamek. I was standing with Don Adamek. So it was pretty good. But we've been able to see a lot of good friends and people I haven't seen in a long time. So that's been great. So I'd have to say right now, I'm having a blast being here, getting back in touch with some old friends and working in the pro shop and working with my buddy Mark Anderson. And got some young guys here really good. Octavius Manning and Travis Reed and Neelis Eric Flanders have been there with Mark for over 10 years. So got a good group of people. And I can't leave out John Bertolina, who's terrific, and the lady that kind of runs the show, Charlotte Anderson, Mark's wife. So got a good group. So if you come to the tournament, the event, pop in and you'll have some fun visiting with us, and we'll learn some things.
Yeah. I'm going to be there in the last couple days of the tournament, so everybody's going to be kind of wrapping stuff up. So I don't know exactly who I'm going to be able to see, but that's been something that's kind of interesting for me too, because I didn't bowl in college. And I didn't really do anything. I worked a lot of jobs when I was younger, and then I got into the pro shop, and then I've been in the pro shop for a long time. And that's the funny thing about that is that when you work in bowling, you don't get as much time to actually bowl as people think. I mean, they think if you're working in a bowling alley, oh, hey, I get cheap practice. You might get cheap practice. You're just never going to get to use it. Or if you're in a pro shop, you're always working while everybody else is bowling. That's kind of the idea there. So as I kind of got out of the pro shop and got into this YouTube thing, I start meeting people and talking to people and doing all kinds of things. And so, yeah, it'll be fun to just gotten to know Mark Anderson here kind of recently. I've always seen him in the Storm booth when I go by, but I don't want to be the guy, oh, I make bowling ball videos. Nice to meet you. I'm so-and-so, but we got to talk to him a little bit. And so, yeah, it'll be nice to every single year I kind of get to know more people. And so especially going out to South Point or the National Bowling Stadium. Some people say that they kind of get bored of going to Reno, but I like to just walking in, and it's hard to not just be starstruck or dumbfounded or whatever else by the National Bowling Stadium. So yeah, it's a great trip, and I'm looking forward to it here in about a month.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've had talking about Reno for a second, we've had a lot of people express interest and say, hey, really looking forward to going to Reno next year, seeing the new renovated stadium. A lot of people saying, hey, you're going to be there next year. We're looking forward to next year. So we think it's going to be a really, really great year. I mean, it's been terrific here this year in Las Vegas, and people are really having a good time with it. But, kind of being a rebirth of the stadium, so to speak, I think it could be a new turn the page time for Reno in the stadium and be able to see it new and, in a new phase now.
Yeah, I think I've heard that there's a lot of extra stuff going on in Reno now. Like they're building some new stuff. They're doing some new things. They're kind of trying to revitalize it a little bit, because I think that's kind of the reputation that they've got is like, well, I mean, we want to go to Vegas. If we have to settle for Reno, we'll settle for Reno. And I don't think that they don't want to really have that reputation. So they're doing some things. And again, I haven't seen the renovations yet. I'm kind of excited to see those. And so, yeah, if you're into bowling, there's few better places to go check out than the National Bowling Stadium. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I've talked to Ron Wood, who actually Las Vegas Bowling Supply actually leases the booth and has for the last 25, 30 years from Storm. He's been in there. He's actually been in there. And the one thing that really I'm looking forward to seeing and trying to get my head around it is all those stadium seats not being there. And that being so wide open now and being totally different than what we've seen in the past. So I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I did like the stadium seating, but at the same time, I I kind of operate on both sides of things. It's kind of like, well, you can say I like the stadium seating, and it really sucks they took it out of there, but they wouldn't have taken it out of there unless they had a better idea or they had something going on. And so I want to see it and how it actually works out before I kind of make any kind of judgment or anything. So I'm thinking it's probably going to open it up a whole lot more, and just make it even more impressive and kind of awe-inspiring.
Yeah, and that theater that they have in there, I've got to go back probably close to 15 years ago, but we once had a Storm sales meeting there for the 10th anniversary. Gosh, that's over 20 years ago now. Wow. But we had a sales meeting there, and we actually had a sales meeting in that theater. And that theater, if you haven't been in it, it's pretty impressive place.
Yeah. No, I haven't been in it, so that might be something I have to work my way into checking out. So, speaking of another impressive place, I've also not been to Storm HQ. So, what are your they have the big display. You walk in, they have all the bowling balls, and then you go back and there's the warehouse, and they have their little set where they they have the lanes and they test a bunch of stuff. And so, what are some of your favorite places at HQ out there?
Well, I tell you, I'll clue you and somebody in your group into something that's coming down the pipe. They've just laid the concrete for another extension onto the building, and Mr. Christman has personally acquired some collections of bowling balls and bowling memorabilia to go along with what he's collected for over the years. And he's going to build on an addition behind his office, which is on the first level. Like if you look at the Storm building, you look to the far right, well, that's where Mr. Christman's office is. Well, he's going to extend out there and going to add on a museum there. His own man cave, if you will. But I'm not going to go too much further with that. But Matt McNeil and myself and several others have volunteered to willingly and gladly go in and help out if we can be part of that to help put part of that together and work on that. And speaking of that, one of the other things we're working on right now is we're working with Kerry Smith and the folks down at the Bowling Hall of Fame Museum in Arlington. They're working on a new project down there to totally renovate a lot of the bowling to more toward a STEM type atmosphere for students, science, technology, engineering, and math, to have more of a phase there to bring more students in to come in and see the stadium. And so we're working with them. We got some new videos we're putting together at Storm. We're going to be working with a couple other manufacturing partners and friends in the business to hype up that, and looking forward to doing some good things down in Arlington to help with the Hall of Fame to revamp that. And they just had the bowling Hall of Fame extravaganza here in Las Vegas a week ago and raised a bunch of money. And another little sidebar, little commercial. If you've never come to the Hall of Fame extravaganza, it's a tournament for anybody. It's a one-ball tournament. It's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of really great people in bowling, and you need to catch Jackie Brown and get an entry. It's a great deal for 3 days, 2 nights at the Red Rock, and all the things, cocktail parties and the tournament and everything. It's a really, really great time. So if you get a chance, I got to give them a little shout out there to help them raise some money for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a great time. I think some of those, that's what people really like, is some of those fun formats, because everybody's used to going to the tournaments that are team double, singles, and whatever. That's kind of the traditional standard for tournaments. But anytime somebody gets a chance to do like a Baker doubles or even a Scotch doubles, that's really interesting. Or a 1-ball or 2-ball tournament or something like the Peterson. I think that's what really that kind of breaks it up and makes it really fun. And so that might have to be something I put on my calendar coming up here.
Well, you definitely should, because you had everybody from Jamie Brooks and Albert Blau bowling together. They're both in their 80s having a great time. To Hall of Famer Bob Hart was there, Mike Albee was there, Wendy McPherson, Dave Sims, the president of Storm, my colleague and friend, and Bill Christman bowled together. And Dave was using a 13-pound ball and said, "Man, I should have been using 13 all these years for my regular bowling, not just bowling this tournament, trying to bowl odd and even and headless horseman, all these other crazy things we're doing."
Yeah. It's just it's kind of incredible the amount of things that actually go on, and I think people don't realize how much out there that Bill and the whole team has to tackle, or has to kind of reaches out to, or supplies some kind of help or some funding or something. And people think they just make bowling ball, or they're just trying to sell bowling balls. But man, with the Storm Youth Championships and all kinds of other things that they support and they do, and I just can't ever imagine how anybody actually gets anything done there. It just seems like there's so many things going on, and bowling's one of those things that you never really clock out of. So they may put 40 hours on their time card, but I've been there, done that. So
Well, and I've been very fortunate. I've been with that organization for almost 25 years now, and I will tell you, it kind of starts with just being a bowler. Everybody there's a bowler. They have that passion for bowling, and you're right. You can teach people sales and marketing or engineering or these other things, but you can't teach them to love bowling. And I will tell you, that's one common thread through that entire business and that whole building. Anybody, wherever they are, they love bowling, and that's the reason why it's more of a joy to be able to do that and be involved in it and to be involved in something you love to do. And so you don't really think about it being a job. It's kind of what you do. And I will tell you, Mr. and Ms. Chrisman have invested heavily and continue to reinvest heavily in the sport, in the game, in all aspects. And that's just not some advertising slogan. So the Bowlers Company is really where it starts. And I'd have to respectfully say one out of every $4 that comes into that building goes back to support bowling, support bowlers, support events, support charities, and that's how they're built, and that's how they're going to continue to do it.
Yeah, and there's sometimes I see some stuff and I just really can't believe how much they're actually doing. The Storm Youth Championships is funded by Storm. And so there's a lot of stuff that people don't even realize that goes on behind the scenes, and how much money and how much, product and how much whatever else that they're just kind of constantly pushing out there. And if you look at it, that's one of those things you can't really look at, like you were saying, the whole passion about it. You can't really look at bowling you got to do responsible things within the business, but they do bend it as much as they can to say, yeah, we gotta take care of the numbers on the spreadsheets. But, as long as we can do that, we're going to do absolutely as much as we can with the other resources that we have. So it's really been a fantastic company to be on with.
And I'll tell you, Gary and Blair and Leanne, that whole group that kind of heads up SYC, they've done a phenomenal job, and they continue to get inquiries all the time about having more events, and the momentum and the interest and the activity and the community they've built is incredible. They're doing a heck of a job. Matter of fact, I think if I'm not mistaken, the entries for the next SYC Iowa Open tomorrow, I think. And if anybody here is listening that wants to bowl that, don't hesitate. You got to be in there when those entries open, because it only takes mere minutes. And that's not a joke. It takes a very, very short period of time before there's a waiting list. It's an incredible amount of momentum and energy for folks wanting to come out, young people and their parents and their families supporting to come out and bowl in those events.
Well, I think it's been a big part of, people like Spencer Robarge and Jillian Martin they're gonna make a name for themselves either way, but winning as several times. I think Spencer, they both won so many times that they can't fit the little logos on the banner anymore, or whatever that they used to have to put their championships on. And I'm sure that a lot of them are glad that Spencer's gone now. So it gives somebody else a chance to win something. But yeah, it's great for bowlers coming up. And that we talk about, we were talking to Carolyn Doran-Ballard last week about how seasoned the players are coming out now. It used to be you'd have to go get on the tour and you'd take your couple years and take your lumps to figure it out there. But with stuff like the Storm Youth Championships, and then they get into college, and then they're ready to go by the time they hit the pro. They hit the lanes on the pro circuit. And Jillian Martin's already got a title, and so it's Storm Youth Championships is a big thing for the youth bowlers out there. If you want to go further in bowling, if not as a bowler yourself, just to get the connections, the networking, talk to people, meet people, you might find out that somebody wants to go kind of down the lines that you do, or maybe they're really interested in what Blair does or what Gary does or whatever else. And so it doesn't actually have to be success on the lane. You can do a lot of things like Storm does. The people, they kind of chuckle, like Gary said, I don't really bowl much anymore, and I probably ought to go out and practice because I got this tournament coming up, or we're going to nationals or something like that. But it doesn't have to be on the lanes. You could be a part of a group that supports everybody else that is on the lanes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And actually kind of going back, I've been very fortunate to be able to be in bowling, working it most of my adult life. And I will tell you, there's some young people now that I know that I remember coming up, 25, 30 years ago, that they were pro shop operators or they were bowlers. It was like, hey, how do you get into the business? How do you do that? And having these
this ability to go in there and learn it. I remember meeting a very, very young Ron Hicklin at the Classic Trade Show in Fort Wayne, Indiana, many, many years ago when he was still in high school, and he's gone on to get an engineering degree, and needless to say he's been very successul in what he's done with his career. So there's a lot of those stories. I mean, like Nick Cyphers, one of my colleagues from our global days. He's now got a very, very high level job at Valero Energy in San Antonio, but he was with USBC, and he also was one of the guys that did a heck of a job making the bowling balls down at Niner Global in San Antonio when we were working together. So there's a lot of those avenues, and you hit on it perfectly. There's a lot of different areas that you can help contribute based on what your mindset is or what your skill set is that you can bring into bowling.
Yeah. Speaking of Spencer Robarge, does Dave have any updates over there, or what are we? Has he just been sitting over there eating his hot dogs, or what? I'm sure the hot dog's probably gone by now. So he probably should have gotten that.
You want to jump on in?
Yeah, if you're done.
Hey, it's great. Thanks for all the time, and I tried to plug every possible thing I could think of.
Yeah.
Hey, the Zen Soul's out now. Buy one soon. Thanks, see you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Thanks again.
Good stuff there.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Wes is one of the good guys, and we talk about him taking his time and what his favorite things to do here. And I just watched a couple of interactions, and I think he's real comfortable over here in the booth filling in. So believe it or not, Luke, I was actually working on the sidelines as you were speaking so highly of me. And these guys are just finished. And I was just doing the math here. Let me make sure I've got my numbers completely right here. I believe I'm off by 100 pins, so stand by. I don't want to throw that off. Okay, I've got them actually 6 in. Yeah, it's not quite as high as I thought. 31-18 is their unofficial final total. Now Spencer Robarge started with 160, and then he went 248, 245. So he got back to 653. Craig Hendrick led the way. I'm pretty sure you know Craig also. He's a good bowler from down in that area also. He shot 687. Blake ended up with 635. Tony Arborough led off with 572, and Tom Mohannon had 571. So one more time just for the official, because I don't like to mess anything up. I've got him at 31-18, so hopefully that's correct. But Aaron Smith will be bringing them in here as soon as they get done, get their stuff, get their shoes off, and come on in here. So like I said, I am really enjoying this show. This is kind of fun sitting on the sidelines and semi helping out with scores and kind of bringing in the guests and being the on-site producer while Angel is producing from there. So actually, I don't have anything right now on the update front. So I don't know have you had a chance to play BobbyJacksons.com or the commercial?
No, this would be a good time to play it. And you've also you missed one of the rare times where it's actually a little bit warm in the basement. I'm sweating like Randy Peterson trying to come up with new dad jokes to tell on the PBA telecast. So. But anyway, yeah, I'll go on ahead and play Bobby Jackson. I'll catch you on the other side.
All right, play that, and I've got another surprise.
Bobby Jackson's Trading is the place to sell all your unwanted precious metals, including broken gold and silver jewelry. They also buy old silver and gold coins, so check them out for all your buying and selling needs. Also, did you know that Bobby Jackson's Trading pays top dollar for your unwanted gift cards? You know the ones your grandma got you for Christmas? Bobby Jackson's Trading is located on 23rd Street, just one block east of Noland Road in Independence, Missouri. They're open 7 days a week. Check them out at BobbyJacksons.com or give Bob Foster a call at 816-463-1919. That's 816-463-1919.
And we're back on the other side. So what did you have for us? A secret, you said.
Okay, well, as much as Wes was giving Mark Anderson accolades, and he was also may have been saying some things that made his ears burn. Mark has made it into the Aaron Smith office here. So, Luke, I know you weren't necessarily prepared for this. Actually, we'll just bring in Mark. I'll hang in here with him. Aaron, I'm not sure when Spencer and Blake are going to be done exactly, but actually, let me get that chat out of the way for you there. Now, there's Mark Anderson.
Hey,
we're going to get him more into the picture here. But
how are you?
Yeah, Mark. Actually, you know what? I know a good time. I want to really surprise Mark here. I got something for him. Mark is always great to us in the booth and everything. I've got two things for him. One of them I did not bring. I forgot. I left in the hotel room, and we'll just say it may involve what Chris Pye's mom takes care of him with. But then I also want to present Mark with a little Longhorn Steakhouse gift certificate here. Mark is always great to us, so I try to.
Man, you guys are great to me.
Try to butter him up when he knows he's got a lot of work with my equipment to make me look good. So, Luke, come up with some masterful questions here. I put you on the spot. I'll kind of sneak. This looks pretty good right here. I'll just stay in the view. Just block me out and take care of Mark. But Mark, I thought wasn't due back here till a little bit later. But Luke, Mark got a chance to watch the shows, the Senior Masters, so that might be a good place to start.
Yeah, I don't, man. Luke, I look pretty good. Barnes got hit with by a freight train today on the show. Yeah. I still got a little train tracks across my back.
Yeah. So yeah, tell us. Wes told us kind of how the show went, but was Dino with the front 16, just kind of rolled through everybody. What were some takeaways, or what were some kind of interesting things other than Dino just kind of doing what imposing his will, I guess.
Dino, before the match, Dino's a good buddy of mine. I've known him almost as long as Barnes. Before the match, I said, man, I sure hope the winner comes out of this match right here. and after Dino won, I said, man, this was the second best the way that this could have gone today. He goes, I don't have to ask you what the best way was.
Yeah.
But man, he bowled two things. He bowled unbelievable today, unbelievable, and it was his time. He caught. He didn't need the breaks, but he caught a couple that were in good spots. He he averaged 260 on the show, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I told him after the first game, man, your average is gonna go down for the next three. I hope for sure.
Okay, let me interrupt here. Quick programming note: Blake and Spencer are at the lockers, putting their stuff up, and they're on their way over here. So I'm going to step out. You keep talking to Mark, and I'll meet them in the green room, and we'll see how long they'll able to stay. Because I know we can go over 6, a little over if we have to. So And Angel knows that with me not on site, we won't be sitting there talking for an hour. So we're actually going to gain.
Yeah. So when the show's over, it's over.
All right. You get with Mark, and I'll cue these guys.
Man, before you go, we're going to have to redo a Kansas City Royals, Baltimore Orioles bet.
Boy, Baltimore taking care of business today.
I was talking about that earlier.
They were building a dynasty.
Wes, you guys probably have 6 or 7 more wins than us this year. So
that's crazy that we're talking about 6 like it's insurmountable right before the All-Star break.
You have the bragging rights. Like I posted earlier in the year, the worst team since 2001, and we're 1-2. So, all right, let me step out. I'm going to go to the green room.
Thank you.
This here, Mark's going to take over there. Thanks. You get the good chair there.
Yeah. Sit in the comfy chair there.
Yeah.
So finish what you were talking about with the Senior Masters.
Senior Masters. I tell you what, Luke. I had a great week there. I'm not working quite as much here. I've had a few things going on, but I got to pop over and hang out with Chris for a little bit. I missed one of the days, but the other days I was there. I would like to share, Luke, one of my favorite stories, if that's okay, from the Senior Masters. Rob Gottschall calls me the train conductor. He goes, I've worked with Barnes on tour before. He's pretty much going to throw what he wants to throw when he wants to throw it and where he wants to throw it. Yeah. He goes, he takes a little bit of advice, and if he gets jammed up, he might go to it. He goes, Mark, you're the guy that keeps the train on the tracks just by talking to him about different stuff and keeping his heart rate under 190 all the time.
Yeah.
So, Luke, my story from there was he had this 3-frame stretch. It was early in qualifying, and he was getting ready to melt down. He went 6-1, 6-2, 6-2. So timing's critical with him. So I waited till a little bit later on the night, and I go, Barnes, we're still in great shape, and you won Wimbledon today. He goes, Wimbledon? I go, yeah, 6-1, 6-2, 6-2 straight sets. Nobody could have beat you today, right? Oh, and I go, I tell you what, if you could have went 6-0, so I could add 6 love to the story. It would have been worth $1 million to me. He goes, I'd have done it for 100.
Yeah.
So today in the show, I don't know if you saw Chris Warren's first frame. He goes 6 out. Rob Gottschall was around when I talked to him, and he texted me 6 love on the show.
That's great. Yeah, that's that funny behind the scenes stuff that people like. I think that's why some of the Brad and Kyle and Darren Tang and what they're doing with their vlogs and everything. People like to see the behind the scenes stuff. We always see the super polished most super polished most of the time on the TV stuff, and they like hearing these funny behind the scenes stories. So that's a pretty good one.
Yeah. Hey, Luke, I wanted to tell, Waz snuck out before I could tell him, you and Waz do a great job with this. I actually try to catch you every chance I get, and since I've been taking care of some other stuff, I really enjoy you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's been interesting and kind of challenging, especially since Dave used to do the radio thing, and so he's used to being able to ask a question and then pass it off and go to doing his notes or taking care of something or talking to the next guest or whatever, and we're instead of having a camera on us the entire time, so he's kind of had to learn some stuff, and of course I'm still trying to refine what I do. I'm trying to refine the rambling. I'm incredibly starstruck, and so anytime I talk to people like. I don't know how long I've been on staff, but I've been to Nashville several times. I've been to the booth, and normally my wife and I, we kind of trot in there, and I've seen you several times and just kind of trot in there and look at stuff and just, we're doing fine, thanks. And then we walk back out because like I was telling Wes, I'm like, I don't want to be the guy that kind of walks around like, hi, I make bowling ball videos and put them on YouTube. So, I'm pretty important, but yeah, I'll definitely make sure to swing it. Of course, if you're going to be there, you're going to be there in mid-July. Still, we're bowling the 16th and 17th, and the last day is the 18th. So, you still going to be there by then, or
Luke? I will be here till the end right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'll make sure to come in and say hi this time.
Luke, we have a thing about the staff guys. Generally, they come in. Barnes being my bud, I crack on him all the time. Whenever he walks in, we go, Chris Barnes, perhaps you've heard of me.
Yeah.
I want, when you march in, I want you to go, Luke Rosendahl, perhaps you've heard of me. Did I mispronounce the last name?
It's Rosendahl. That's close enough. People, there's there's some consonants and there's some stuff that it's German or Swedish. My mom's German. Yeah, it's Swedish. I don't know. But I'll have to. I'll try to remember that. I'll actually tell Angel, my wife. She'll remember it for me.
Yeah.
But, one way or another, we will have to make that happen. But what I want to talk to you about really is that last week on the show we had Klompkin on, and he laid a bunch of balls out for Dave. And so Dave's hoping to shoot 1,800. He's going to have you do some surface work for him here in the coming days. But Dave picked out the balls. Steve picked out the layouts. And I was just the monkey with the grease pencil putting the stuff on there. So he's practiced a little bit with them. And so I think it's going to be interesting to we might have to have you on again sometime soon after the Waz Bowling Nationals thing to see what you think. Number one, about the ball choices, about Steve's layouts, and then what you have to do to try to save him before he bowls.
You think he's going to need saving?
It depends. We're still establishing the over-under on hot dogs. So, I mean, if he hits the over, then he probably won't need a whole lot of saving, but you never know.
Hey, Luke, what do you do full-time? What is your full-time job?
I used to be I was a bridge inspector for several years. Now I'm in bridge management. So I do the clicky, all the information that comes in beforehand, and then all the information that comes back from the inspection. So that's
Luke, you would be a guy that would fit great in my booth too. Your personality.
Yeah.
Man, bridge inspection, ball drilling, it's got to be almost the identical thing.
Well, and I was in a pro shop for 15 years too, and so I developed all kinds of phrases and interesting things, and so I can speak several different languages. I can speak good old boy for people that just want to come in and want 3 holes in a ball, and I can talk technical for the guys that have been putting their Excel spreadsheet together with all the BTM reviews and all the numbers and the cover formulas and everything, and have kind of started nailing down their choice. So yeah, I'm well versed in the pro shop side of things.
Luke, you know the deal too. Plus you got that people personality thing too. I tell all my guys, man, I like to have guys that are good on the drill press, but if you don't have the personality to get it in the drill press, it doesn't matter how good you are.
Yep.
So.
Yep. That's kind of my. Some people don't really like customer service, but I find it incredibly fun because there's a challenge there, because it's your job to make the customer happy, whether it's giving them what they need or what they want, or finding a way to give them both what they want and what they need at the same time. And I find it, even especially with cranky customers, you can tell sometimes people come in and they're just upset about something and you need to fix it. Well, getting upset back at them because they're upset isn't going to help anything. So it's your job to flip it around. So, and I always found that to be a really interesting challenge. So I kind of enjoyed the people that just had kind of a tough time, or they were, grip fell out, or I don't know, whatever happens, it's your job to make them happy. And that was always kind of the fun part of it for me.
Hey, Luke, I'm going to head out because Waz got back here with the two superstars.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, but real quickly, man, again, that was the perfect situation here with, that little struggle we went with with the ball return and stuff. Mm-hmm. I would tell you that, honestly, as many people that came in that were looking to have a bad experience, we flipped that and turned it around and made them stronger Storm supporters, we'd like to think or hope.
Yep. That's the job, and that's the idea.
Yeah. You could have been part of that team.
Yeah.
Next year, Luke.
Yeah.
Luke.
Yeah. I might have to see if I can get a month off or something to come hang out in the booth, and I'm pretty good on drill press too. So.
Yeah. Great. All right, Luke, I'm gonna head out. Thank you. Thanks everything.
All right. Yeah. We'll see you later.
Have fun with these guys. They're great.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for everything.
All right, let's get rid of Mark and let's get some real bowlers in here. Spencer Blake just finished up on the lanes. We'll get him in here, and I will once again duck out of here, and we'll get some real bowlers on the show.
Yeah. We can see maybe Blake can help you out, and a good lefty can help me out with our incoming.
Yeah, because
squads here in the coming days and or weeks.
Exactly, because your game is pretty much mirror image of Spencer's. So
yeah, exactly. So I'm going to learn a lot.
All right, I'm going to rearrange the Aaron Smith office and bring him on there. All right, thanks.
Yeah, we got the big shots in here now. We got Spencer Robarge and Blake Demore. So thank you guys for joining us, especially after you just got done bowling. I mean, I'm sure that you're ready to have a hot dog and go take a nap, especially since it's I guess the time difference actually kind of favors you a little bit, but you're probably getting tired here. So tell us a little bit about the squad, how it happened, how things went, and what you did.
Me? Okay. I bowled really bad the first game, and then I figured out what I was doing, and I bowled pretty good the last two. So that was about it.
All right. Yeah. Well, so for those of us bad lefties that are getting ready to head out there here in a little while, any trade secrets that you want to offer, or anything? What'd you get figured out, and what'd you end up doing?
I started too far left. That does not come out of my mouth very often. I started too far left. I felt like they were, if I got it going left, it would go straight. If I got it going right, it would hook. But I started moving in, and as soon as I started moving in, I felt like I had the pretty good area to play with. So my left lane blew open towards the end of game 2. I switched urethanes, and I don't think I missed on that lane but once the last game. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's something that I'm finding out, is that most of the time when a lefty would say that they started too far left, they'd be just putting it right in the gutter. So that's something I'm learning, that outside 5 isn't as terrifying as it used to seem on the right side. But so Blake, how about you?
I bowled pretty good the first game. It was I had a split, I believe, in that game. I shot 218 the first game, then went to a Zen Soul. I threw an IQ Tour the first game, then a Zen Soul, and then I went to a Zen, and struggled the last game. I had an open and a split, but I should have balled up on the right lane. The right lane got really cliffed. The other one was pretty nice. but they're hittable. It's just I started a little bit further in just because the further right just didn't look good. So.
Yeah, and that's kind of what Casey was telling me too. Was that it's he said he says it's playable. He didn't ever, and that's what a lot of people have said. It's playable, but if you get mixed up or you kind of get in a bad way, it can get out of control fast. But as far as oh yeah, oh no, do not do this now. Restart later. Okay, crisis averted. So I've heard stronger stuff, but not big on surface. So what are a few of the balls that you guys used, and what surfaces did you have them at?
I threw a pitch black and a booyah. I did not hit them before this set. So it was 500, but I went down and bowled the Bowler's Journal last night. So it was 500, 3 games old, and the booyah was the same way. So not as much surface as I would usually use, and I think that helped me.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been hearing is that not a whole lot of surface. There actually hadn't been a whole lot of urethane, but I mean, you get on it pretty good. So urethane's going to be, it's just going to be the story of your life, really.
Well, and I was a little worried because, usually I don't get that far right with urethane balls, and usually when I do, they flat 7 a lot. I split the 8-9 or almost trip 6 quite a bit. I really didn't throw a whole lot of like wrap 7s and stuff like that, flat 7s. I didn't have hardly any of those. So interesting.
Yeah. And Blake, I know that you mentioned a Zen Soul, but what else did you use?
Used an IQ Tour the first game I hit it with 1,000 in the team practice, and I didn't hit it after that. The Zen Soul's got a little bit of lane shine on it, so not really any surface on it. Yeah. And then I went to a Zen, which it's got some lane shine with a 4K fast on it. But that's what I used. Yeah.
What time do you guys bowl tomorrow?
7 a.m.
So you got, yeah. We actually I'm coming with Chaz Brewer here in about a month, but we got the 9:30 p.m. team squad followed by the 7:30 a.m. doubles and singles squad. So that's going to be fun. Yeah. Along with those 12:30 a.m. Team practice sessions. So, how did you guys bowl? You guys bowl one of those, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you just told me that you did, but so how did you think that the team practice session was? It fairly similar, or were some of the kind of differences that people might be able to watch out for?
On my side, I thought they hooked a bunch. They started out actually kind of cliffed. I could not get my ball to come around it the right way. We had 4 lefties on our team and companion team, so they started to blend out pretty good. In about 10, 15 minutes in, I threw a bunch in a row, so they blended out pretty good. But they hooked. I mean, they obviously hook more down, in the bowling center than they do in the plaza.
Yeah.
So. But
yeah, what do you think, Blake?
They definitely hooked more in the actual bowling center compared to the plaza. Just more track, more wear. But I mean, the shape was kind of similar, but it's close. But it's more hook in the bowling center.
Yeah, and I think that's something interesting, especially since we bowled team in the plaza last year and then doubles and singles in the center. That made it kind of interesting. But that's something that I've been talking about a little bit on some of my recent videos, is that people don't give enough credit to the actual lane surface. They want to know what the pattern is and they want to know this and that, but knowing the lane surface, and obviously it is quite a bit drier. So if, for those people that go bowl the team practice session and then think, oh, okay, well they're gonna be like this when I get into the actual tournament, this would be some pretty good information for them. Yeah. So let's see what else. So Dave's getting ready to bowl here in a couple days, and so we've already thrown a lot of people under the bus, and we're going to have to throw more people under the bus. We'll have to get you guys involved here. Dave picked out the bowling balls on his own, so he might black cloud himself. But then on the show last week, Klompkin laid him out for him. He got him drilled. He threw him a few times. He's going to have Mark put some surface on him later, get all his surfaces figured out. So let me see. He took a bunch of stuff. He got a Zen, he got a Helios, he got a UC3, he got a Husk Camo, he got a hyped hybrid. I don't have any idea what the surfaces are going to end up on them, but what do you think on helping out Dave here in the next couple days? You got any words of wisdom for him?
Slower symmetrics look pretty good, so that's what I would say. And once they get a little clipped, maybe an asymmetric.
Can you have it described? Tell me what is an asym? He doesn't know me very well. Slower asyms. All right, I'm writing that down.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That might put that UC3 in play. You never know.
I know something about those. That's in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
All right. I'm coming in here for a second, Luke, because I've got a question for you. I don't remember the layout we put on the UC3.
I have no idea.
Well, you were there. You laid it out. But
Yeah, I know. But I think you wrote everything down, and so at that point, it's I was just the monkey with the pencil putting the lines on the thing. So after that, I thought it was going to be in God's hands after that. So.
We picked out a couple of patterns, and we threw everything on the high friction lanes at Summit, and the UC3 outhooked anything I have. I had no idea is it supposed to do that? I did not expect that.
Yeah, I think it was 4.5 by 3.5 by 2.5 or something like that, or 4 by 3.5 by 3 or something like that. But it was a fairly strong layout. But yeah, that's what we were trying to. It's not when somebody said, "Oh yeah, the UC3 is a urethane ball." It is kind of, but it's got a big motor in it, and urethane balls, half the thing is they've got weaker cores, and so they dig in early, but then they roll over that same oil the rest of the way down the lane. The UC3 doesn't do that. It just digs and digs and keeps digging and keeps digging. So Spencer can probably tell you how much he actually throws the UC3, despite being the urethane savant.
The first one that I drilled, it was the strongest ball I'd ever drilled in my life. I could not throw it on like patterns just because how strong it was. So it looked pretty good on the house shots, but I've drilled a couple since, and my goodness, it's a different shape than the black ones give me. So.
Oh yeah, it's just a different animal. So yeah, you might keep that in your thoughts there, Dave. I know you went into it thinking urethane ball, but
it's like Spencer said, it's the same thing for me. I thought, well, we had one lane that was tighter than the other, so I thought, well, I'll give this a shot just for fun. On the drier lane, and then I took it to the tighter lane and still couldn't keep it. It got to 40 feet, and I was like, what is going on here? I mean, I like it. It gives me something else, but not, we listed those in order, starting at the gym and then going down. And that ball went from second to last in front of the camo, I think, all the way to the top for me. Just on ball reaction, it's insane. But we did have a question in the chat. It's from the Bowler Show. They wanted to know if Spencer and Blake thought that bowling on the end pair was either an advantage, disadvantage, or really didn't matter.
The right lane just felt like it hooked earlier, but then it got really cliffs. I mean, I don't know if it's really an advantage or disadvantage, but just played the lane wrong at the end of the set. But I mean, they were pretty nice, both lanes. So.
I always think whenever you have a pair that, you're on a pair where you don't have to worry about somebody on the other side, I always think that's, usually an advantage. Sometimes at regular bowling centers, your end pairs can be a little funky. Obviously, the lanes up here are in pretty good shape, so I thought it was okay. The left lane blew open for me, which was good because I could curve them a little more than I normally do, and I didn't have any issues in the right lane being next to the wall. I struck quite a bit on the right lane, so I think it was fine.
Yeah, I kind of like the end pairs too, especially whether there's some of them where you can be on an end pair that's like the approach ends at the wall or something. So that can be kind of interesting sometimes. But yeah, being on the end pair there and not having to worry about lane courtesy one whole direction, I think makes it a little bit easier for me too. But I was going to ask Waz the UC3, does it actually outhook your RST-X2? Because he says somehow he got the hookingest X2 in the world. It just hooks off the planet for him. He can't control it.
Yeah, it's actually similar. It's a different shape. I didn't get to throw the UC3 on house, but yeah, similar. It gets to the spot and it's just gone. Actually, I think it's even stronger, and I never expected that. So. Like I said, it's fine. I've got different stuff. I brought the RST-X2 just in case I needed something like that for one of the days here. I really doubt it, but since I drove, of course, I took everything pretty much in my arsenal that could fill every spot imaginable. So for me, the only thing I really don't have right now is a Zen Soul. When we had Mark Anderson on, I probably should have told him I need him to drill one of those up, because I saw Blake's and it was rolling good. And I saw a couple other guys, and we've also seen guys shooting 300 out here with it. So that looks like it's kind of matching up. I guess a question I would ask these guys, and you talked about the, bowling the practice sessions and what they thought. What's your game plan going into tomorrow now that you guys have been out there, the butterflies are gone? What's kind of the game plan with lesser bowlers, a little less time to break lanes down, only 4 bowlers on the pair? Now, you guys got a game plan, or you guys just go out there and just start bowling?
For me, I'm not going to spend near as much time as I did trying to break the lanes down. I broke them down in an area that I thought I was going to play, and then I played an arrow right of it down lane, so it was kind of pointless. So I'm just going to go in ready to go, and I'm not going to be afraid to move right, because obviously it looks pretty good on that, and I don't know what the pattern will be looking like tomorrow. I've watched some squads, but you never really know until you get on. So,
yeah.
I think we're only have 3 righties on our pair for tomorrow, so I think just try to stay a little bit further right and try to blend them a little bit better, but just stay out of trouble. That was something I kind of struggled with each game, just throwing a split where I didn't need to on a big string.
Yeah, and that's something else I've heard, especially for singles and doubles, was stay out. I mean, for the righties at least, to just stay right as long as you can. And the left side's a different animal too. But I mean, if you have about equal numbers of both that you're bowling with, and especially with it being a fresh install, or not a fresh install, but being fresher, I know they get a bunch of traffic, but it still makes it a little bit more interesting. But I have heard for singles and doubles that seems a little shorter than team, which is not normally the case. Normally, at least aside from last year, the case had been that singles and doubles was a little bit longer. But last year, of course, we were also in the center too, so that could have skewed some perception. But you guys gotten in some bowlers journal squads yet? Are you going to go do that before you bowl tomorrow, or?
We did one late last night. We were still kind of tired. We got the 1:30 a.m. flight. We got here at 2 a.m. It was 4 a.m. our time. It was a long day. It was delayed so long. But
we had bowled some previous to getting here. We bowled 2 during the Masters, and I actually got an award out here, the Chuck Hall Star tomorrow. And while we were here, we came over and bowled a squad as well. So we've both bowled 4 of them. So got to see it a few times on, a couple of different ends of the bowling center. So.
All right. So, we talked a little bit about earlier, a lot of your successes. We also mentioned the, Blake shooting the 897 here a few months ago at a tournament. So, you've both been around doing all kinds of stuff, but for Spencer, how interesting has all the attention been? Because I mean, you're 19 now, 19, 20, something like that. And so, I mean, you're winning all kinds of Storm Youth Championships. You've been on TV several times doing all kinds of things. How kind of wild is that? Because you've always seemed like a super down to earth, kind of like, I just go out there and bowl, and if people think that's awesome, that's cool. But I'm just out there bowling. So
yeah,
walk us through that a little bit.
It is what it is. I mean, my eyes opened up a lot more when I went to Junior Gold last year. we went to the trade show, which is tied to registration. Everybody goes to registration, so almost everybody goes to the trade show. And I just went to go walk around, and I don't know how many people had come up and, hey, great bowling. Can you take a picture with us, this, that, and the other? And I'm like, I'm just a guy, just here. There's all the pros are around, and it was weird. So after that, it's kind of, it is what it is. It's different, but I think it's okay.
Yeah, and Blake too. I mean, you've had a lot of success doing a bunch of things, and you're known pretty well everywhere. I mean, not on a national stage and having TV cameras everywhere, but I mean, talk about some of your stuff too.
I haven't really been bowling a lot lately. I've just been doing pro shop work mainly. But every year I try to go to the Longview double tournament down there in Texas, and 2 out of the 3 years that I've went to it, we've won the first year, didn't cash, and then I had this guy bowl with me, and he carried me most of the time. But it's just fun bowling with your family.
Yeah.
And I've had some success, probably not as much as he'll ever have. He'll have more than I will, but it's just a fun game to do.
All right. Well, you guys are probably tired and ready to go get something to eat, so we'll go on ahead and let you off here. And thanks for hanging out, especially right after you get done bowling. Sometimes you want to talk to somebody, and sometimes you don't. So agreeing to come on no matter what happened was pretty cool. So good luck to you guys tomorrow, and hopefully big things.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, we'll get Mr. Hot Dog back in here.
Awkward transition. There's no other really way around.
Yeah.
Just walk right now. Okay. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Spencer, good luck in the morning.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I gotta see ya. See you. All right. Now enough of those second-rate bowlers. I'm back now.
Yeah. Let's talk about the important stuff now.
The important stuff is Hot Dog. I know they're heading out. They've got a team. Reservations for the steakhouse. So we're gonna let them get out there. And like you said, bowling right after. Sometimes, if you bowl good or bad, you really don't want to talk too much. So
yeah. So and one of the more important things too, that sign's still on the wall behind you.
Yeah, I must have done a better job than Aaron Smith. Apparently,
Yeah.
He just put it up right before we started the show, and we could tell it wasn't going to last very long. So I gave it a little extra tender loving care, and it's staying up there. So anything else in the chat? Anything else we need to get to? Look, I know you guys have had a long day of buying fireworks to blow up and do some other things. And of course, I have here also. I got the family here, and they're ready for dinner too. So Aaron Smith's probably going to want to commandeer his office back. So let's tackle anything in the chat and let's get out of here.
No, I think there was Mr. Double J's wanted to know about how often Spencer used reactive lefty and asking for a percentage number. It's very low, very, very low. Occasionally he can throw some of that stuff, but it's just a different world. And I keep harping on it. Even I promise I'm not going to harp on it, but I keep harping on it. And yeah, it's just a different game. It's crazy. But
yeah, little programming note from our great producer. Of course, we don't talk enough about her. She does a great job. Now I see how hard her job is. If she's bringing in guests from all over the place. I'm trying to bring them in just on site, so it's tricky. But yeah, we're gonna skip next week. It's Father's Day, and also I won't even be quite back into town probably yet from my trip out here. So it's a good idea. We're gonna take the week off. And then we'll pick it back up on June 26th or whatever that is. I believe that's the right date. And I don't know. Look, what do you got? You got any bowling going on in the next couple of weeks?
No, actually, it's kind of quiet. I do have the 2 new balls that they announced: the Idle Cosmos and the Infinite Physics. I got videos; those can go up on Friday, so I'll have those up on Friday the 17th. I did have something else to mention, I thought, but that's escaped me right now. Oh, I was going to make some ginger joke or something. I'm feeling a little. I told you it was a little hotter down here than normal. I think it's just because I got a little bit of a sunburn. I went out golfing and I put on I put on, sunscreen. Frickin', you can't see it really well, but I put on sunscreen 3 times and somehow got a little burn on my wrist here and a little bit on my hand and a little bit on my neck. And so I'm a little bit warmer than normal. I just need and it was 70 SPF. I should have gone with the 100, I guess. But
I don't know that they make an SPF high enough for you. So
I really don't think that they do. But
all right, let's wrap this thing up. Take us to a close here. Talk about our great sponsors, and I'll do this part. I'll thank the guys that were here on site, and especially Aaron Smith, of course, for letting us commandeer his office. Actually, he's going to dinner, so I can pretty much just I can get in the system here, do anything I want, change my scores, get some sort of handicap percentage in there or something. But now we're kidding because we care. But seriously, Aaron, we do appreciate you letting us use this office to, first of all, have you on, of course, every week as we did this week, and then Wes Pye just jumped in here, and then a little surprise, Mark Anderson came in here, and I got a chance to give him a steakhouse deal, which I also took care of Aaron for. These guys are doing a lot of stuff for us, and they never ask for anything, so we want to take care of them. And then, of course, wrapping up the show with Blake and Spencer, hometown guys that bowl our stuff. That was really fun. So I'm glad we got some guys in here from the tournament and able to fill everything up. And Luke, I'm not going to lie, I thought you did a great job, and I think next week I'm just going to sit out, or in 2 weeks I'll just let you take over.
Yeah, sure. I mean, whatever. Until we have Verity on. Hopefully it's a third time's a charm rather than the third strike and I'm out type of deal. So we'll see. But yeah, as far as the rest of our sponsors, if I can remember, we got Storm, we got I Am Bowling. I keep wanting to say Logo Infusion, but I Am Bowling, Cool Wick, Bowler's Mart, Turbo, SRGBBFS, Double J's Pro Shop, S&H Custom Homes, and BobbyJacksons.com. I think I got them all.
I know you did. You got everybody. You got all the patch pirates on your shirt there. You got it all covered. So, all right, let's wrap this thing up. The dogs, real quick. The dogs are okay without me being there, right?
Yeah, I think so. They are ready to go outside now, though, but without jumping on you first. So,
all right, take us home.
All right. Thanks, everybody, from the Bowler Show. We're out. We are off next week. Happy Father's Day. And we'll catch you on the 20th.